Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and lovely little ones. Hi, Mitch. Good to see you again.
Yes, done. I'm back again already.
This time we need to do something better than the last time, but okay. Nevertheless, we're going to run through it again, and this is going to be recurring in any case. So next week we actually got the voorzitter here at the Bruin, and also Liam. So it's starting, and then we're going to make that cadence. Perfect. But now we're going to run through all the stuff I've asked you last time, and we're going to look a little bit back on the game last Saturday, and what your findings were. I was there too, by the way. Let's kick it off. As we said, and we discussed the last time, you made obviously a little bit, but you made a choice to join Eemland again, as you were here as a player. What made you move, and what was the background there?
Came over first time in 2013, 2014 season, and played for a couple of years.
Okay, hang on. So you're a Kiwi.
Yeah.
And with no disrespect, you're in New Zealand. You're playing the best rugby in the best place in the world. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to play rugby here?
No. Well, to be fair, I left New Zealand in 2009.
Yeah.
Played a couple of seasons in Ireland. Played a season in Spain. Was in Wales, and then the opportunity arose to come over here and experience something. When I left New Zealand in 2009, had you told me that they played rugby in places like Spain and the Netherlands,
you would have laughed.
I would laugh. But coming over and experiencing different rugby culture, and kind of part of what's helped form a lot of my rugby ideas and what I do. So it was an opportunity to come over, and one that I've fully enjoyed. Met some lifelong friends, met my now wife through the club, and haven't looked back since. I've always had that association with Eemland. Lucky enough to captain the side, and we did pretty well in the couple of years that I was here, and then wanted to go and push on with the rugby experiences. Went over to the UK and spent 8 years there. But we were always still connected to Amersfoort, came back and got married in Amersfoort. Obviously, Lex's family lived here, so was always in and around the club and popping in and new people. So it was good. And when the opportunity arose to come back, and after 2 kids and COVID, and we realised we needed to be a little bit closer to at least one person's family, coming back to the Netherlands made sense. And we've been thriving ever since, to be fair, and enjoyed every moment of the decision to come back.
We didn't discuss this before, but indeed that always puzzles me a bit. Knowing that New Zealand is more or less the pinnacle, well, next to South Africa, I would say, of rugby. Mm-hmm. What makes a New Zealander want to go abroad in any case, or not stick to New Zealand?
Look, I think New Zealand, you're talking a small shop, and with 5 professional teams at Super Rugby level. Yeah,
I got the figure. This is just my ignorance. Don't get me wrong, but I thought. I mean, every little village you got teams there.
There's loads of club rugby teams at grassroots level. You've got the NPC, which in its heyday was very, very strong. Probably when I came through the academy at Auckland, it was starting to peter out a little bit. The importance of ITM Cup or NPC. It's still a very good breeding ground, but it's a stepping stone to get your Super Rugby contract, which is your big earner.
And there's only 5.
And there's only 5 professional teams who will generally contract 30 players. So you're looking at 150.
Wow! So you really have to be magnificently good.
Yeah, top. Kind of cream of the crop, and there's always going to be a conveyor belt of talent coming through. So I'd just turned 21, and it was time for me to kind of move on after a few years of being in the academy and being contracted, limited opportunities. When at the time the Blues were trying to sign Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson, things like that. Yeah, you're way well down the pecking order and bottom of the food chain. So
that I didn't know. I thought it would be broader. Also on top level there in New Zealand.
And that's probably why they have the system that they have, and it has fed into a lot of the success. Maybe we're waning a little bit, and maybe because it's such a small conveyor belt now. Yeah. With teams like South Africa, England, with the vast amount of resources and players that they have across their country. That's probably why they've caught up to the rest of the world, to New Zealand, who used to be the pinnacle.
Yeah, no, indeed.
So that's part of the reason and why, and that's why you see a lot of maybe guys who are looking to try and break into those NPC sides or aren't good enough for Super Rugby. They start to come around and have those experiences in Europe, and the Netherlands is more and more becoming a destination of choice for them.
Yeah, it was probably, outside of the bloody weather. It's probably a decent way of living here. And okay, one last sidestep. What about this Fabian Holland guy then? That it's about to break into the New Zealand team. How I think special is that?
It is. It shows probably the determination. I remember seeing an interview with him done when he was probably only a mini at Gas, and his dream was to play for the All Blacks, and for him to have gone out there himself and made the most of it and be. I would dare say next year he will be a fully fledged All Black.
You think so?
Yeah. No, I think the coaching staff, from what I understand, rate him quite highly, and the Northern Hemisphere tour that's just gone, he was very much in and around the squad, getting used to the environment, almost on an apprenticeship, which the All Blacks have done in the past, and they do with talented players that they think are going to step up in the next year or so. And obviously he's gone through that, and I think it's just a testament to his own determination and his own work rate and making the most of the opportunity, because, he's a gifted player. There's no doubt about that. But to go over there and as a relative unknown and take the world by storm.
And New Zealand is quite strict on homegrown players, aren't they? Because if you don't play in New Zealand, you already, or is that loosened up now?
No. You have to play within New Zealand. It's to try and keep their talent. Financially, they can't compete with your Japanese teams, your French teams, European teams. So the way of getting players to stay is the black jersey and playing for the All Blacks, and putting that on a pinnacle. So and rightly so. That if that's what's going to make the All Blacks strong, then that's what's best for New Zealand rugby.
Okay, that was my own curiosity. So back to reality here at Eemland. So now, okay, it was clear you made the move. You stay there. You always had that connection, and obviously the most important connection is a lot of times the spouse. You're now at Eemland. This is second year, right? What is it that you want to bring here? Where you say, okay, I've done a good job here. Then if Eemland does this or that. Playing wise or
wise. I think in the past, and you have a look at a lot of the strong teams have always relied on really, really good foreigners supplemented with really, really good Dutch talent. The issue being is that when if they're in those key positions and in the spine of the team, and by that I mean 2, 3, at least one of your locks, and 8, 9s, 10s and 15s, if they're occupied by foreign players, we're not really generating anything ourselves. And that was probably one of my big goals in coming back as well, was to make sure that in those key positions we gave young Dutch talent an opportunity and a chance to grow into those. It's not always easy. You can be an exceptional youth player, but stepping up into senior rugby and stepping up into eerste class rugby can be quite difficult, and it needs time, it needs perseverance, it needs a proper plan.
That's what I see every week. I'm always amazed about the speed and the force difference between even the future and eerste class. So that's a lot apart, is it?
No, it is, and then you have a look at probably future class and eerste class as well, and there again is a step up and a difference in speed.
But meaning in the sense the future is quicker than first class?
Yeah, I would say so. It's probably a little bit more physical in the eerste class.
Yeah.
And that's to be expected. You've got a lot of older players there that have been there, and maybe some guys that have stepped down from the eerste class and gone back to maybe home clubs or smaller clubs to where they've moved to, and are playing for them. So no, there's definitely a step up in speed between futures and eerste class, in my opinion, as well.
Okay.
But no, I think for me, it's making sure we continue to have that conveyor belt of talent. I want Eemland to be seen as the destination of choice for young players to kind of try and make their mark in the eerste class. Too many times you've seen some really good players fall away, or because their path impeded by maybe an overseas player. And they're only going to be here for maybe 1, 2, 3 years maximum. What's going to happen when they leave? So you've got to make sure that in those key positions, as much as we can, we've got Dutch talent and homegrown talent, and you supplement that with the best foreigners coming in to kind of support their development.
Well, yeah, we have a couple of foreigners indeed here. But indeed, that's always what I've, as I mentioned, indeed, that Eemland is always the club with all the money, which is relative, I would say, but nevertheless, there is a little bit. But if you look at on the pitch, there was a minimum of half of the team is homegrown already. So, and you can't say that from a lot of other teams that are actually in the Ereklasse. Is that how do you see that? Because it's fine balance, isn't it?
Look, yeah, it is a fine balance, and to compete at the Ereklasse, you need good talent. It can be a tough and physical. It's a long competition. 15 to 22 players isn't going to be enough. So, a lot of teams probably do have to supplement, and whether that's because there's not the player depth there within their clubs, or they're not interested in being playing at what is basically a semi-professional environment. It takes a lot of commitment, and in order to be competitive, you definitely need big squads, particularly if you're fielding a first and a future team. So to have 5 or 6 foreigners in, look, that's fine. If clubs that can do that, then by all means, I think it's probably a little bit more with a few others. But they've obviously got EU passports and they meet the requirements and whatever, and they feel that's the best model for their club. And kudos to them for being able to do that. But I think for us, having seen what's happened when a good group of foreigners have left and where that's left the club and having to rebuild and go again, look, I think our model or the model that we aspire to try and be, and I don't know, we're not hitting what the board and would want. Their goal is 75% of Dutch talent, or 75% of the team being Dutch eligible. We can always continue to strive that. Sometimes it might be that we get 100%, but I think more often than not, we're probably going to be looking at around that 60 to 65%. I think, but that's pretty good.
Again, as a rugby nation altogether, we still have to evolve. And indeed, if you can get players that are used to a higher level, it's not strange to bring them in, and everybody benefits. They play a nice game, we can learn and elevate our level. But I do believe that we now are more or less a established supplier of national teams, under 18s, under 20s, and Delta and national team, right? Is that something that's...
Yeah, definitely the case. Look, we had probably a contingent of nine players over doing the 18s and 20s, a few others that would have been there barring injury and things like that. So yeah, we're on the rise. We seem that, like I said, that destination of choice for young players to try and push their way into Ereklasse rugby. It's certainly starting to ring true. Guys trumping to come to us over some other clubs in the area is always a sign that you're doing things well and that they have trust that this is the best place for them to develop. And I think that's only going to get stronger and stronger as we go through this journey.
Where do you want to bring the club? What do you want to establish with Eemland yourself, right? To the first and the future team. That's more or less this is under your reign.
Yeah, look, I think it's obviously we have to be competitive year in, year out, and pushing certainly to be in the conversation of winning the Ereklasse and winning the future class. That's not always been the case with Eemland. It probably happened a little bit earlier than everyone expected with the Ereklasse a couple of years ago under Zijn. And now we need to continue to build on that success. We did last year, very dominant through large parts of the season and unlucky in the semi-final where the better team won on the day. The future class as well, with it being reinstigated last year, again a little bit earlier than probably we expected, but we won it.
And it was very unexpected.
And I think so long as we're in that top 4 year in, year out and seen as a consistent club competing for top honours, and doing that over a long period and doing it in a sustainable way with our own youth, I think that's success in itself. If we were to sit here and try and base everything on one game and being very black and white and saying either we win it or we're not successful, that would be a little bit narrow-minded. I think we need to be very broad and remember that only a few years ago Eemland were in the eerste class again, struggling to put out two teams with any type of youth development coming through. That's for us. It's got to continue to be the main driver. Definitely at those performance teams or presentation teams. But I think in general, I think if the club can be something that is seen as a bit of a beacon within the community, and being a place that people can come and enjoy rugby, if it's for the first time, if they've had a lifelong involvement, and somewhere where they want to stay, and really bringing home that ethos of the yellow family kind of mentality. And you want people coming in here at 6 and never wanting to leave.
True, no, that's right. So what is it that we really need to be able to do that consistently, according to what you see now? What is necessary to do so?
Facilities always help. I think I said this when I came back into the country. I think whoever builds a facility that can be a beacon and make parents turn up and go, Jesus, this is really sharp. I want my kids playing here. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of good clubs, big clubs that probably haven't got the facilities that they should, and it's a bit of a struggle. And if I look across the road at some of the hockey clubs and football clubs in the area, and again, awash with money because they are popular sports within the country, outstanding facilities, mm-hmm. and with more and more members, and with outstanding facilities, you attract more and more members, which is more and more money to upgrade your facilities, and that's where we need to get to. Hopefully, plans come through. I know it's been talked about for a long time, but the third pitch coming across and being able to build a clubhouse that's that can help the club wash its face, and by wash its face I mean make money.
True.
When it's not being just used for rugby, it can be used for conferences, events, things like that. Probably need to think out the box with a couple of other things in Friday night games. People got we live a stone's throw from the central train station, coming in back from work on an Amsterdam or Utrecht on a Friday night. Hey, there's a rugby game on. Let's go have a watch, have a few beers in the club there. It's dry, it's warm, it's a lovely atmosphere. That's what we need to be getting to. And I think if you have the facilities, that's what's going to attract the monies, attract people and attract money in. Mm-hmm. And then you're always constantly upgrading those. And again, it starts to breed success from that side.
Final question, because I think we're running out of time, and you also. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, the background noise and rumbling is the guys of the first team that Mitch is about to actually train. Or are we? Because it's quite dark still.
Over on the second team pitch tonight, a little bit waterlogged, and we want to save the first team pitch.
Okay, cool, got it. Last Saturday we actually won against the Oak, which they just won from the Haagse, so that was how was that game according to you? I've seen you standing up, being slightly emotional, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, look, I think
they got the first try.
They got the first try. No, we'd spoken all week.
Yeah,
we knew that they had a pretty good record against HRC in the past, particularly when they play at Dioc. Mm-hmm. But they're a good side with good players, experienced players. Who can hurt you if you give them time and space, and we forgot about that. We've spoken about it all week and forgot about it in our first defensive set, and allowed their influential players to step up and get that try. We did well to get back into it. We controlled the game really, really well, but probably our lack of cutting edge and our lack of patience has probably meant that we haven't got the scoreboard kind of dominance that the on-field dominance was showing.
It was, at some point, it was. Definitely. I went back earlier because I had to go, but I was like, we were up, and then I still, it was only 7 points in between at the end.
Yeah, look, some substitutions coming on and maybe not adding the impact that was that's required, mm-hmm. and what we were after, and that kind of never give up kind of Dioc attitude, and those big players that we'd spoken about were given time and space to continue to hurt us. And, like I said, they've been unlucky with a lot of their results. Their team and some of their performances probably defy where they sit currently on the log. Mm. A week ago, they knocked over one of the ones that are a consistent title favourite in HRC that no one saw coming. No. So look, to get a win, okay, disappointing that we've let the bonus point slip and with the final play, but a win's a win. And good teams, when they're maybe not performing to their best, that can still grind out wins, are the signs of something building that's building nicely. we move in to play the only undefeated side this week in Rotterdam, over in Rotterdam. Always a tough place to go.
Yep. Do we know which pitch we're playing?
Grass.
The Mickey Mouse pitch.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're a little bit small, but probably a lot safer and a lot less infection.
Yeah, no, true.
Infection warranted than their plastic pitch, which
these guys they're smashing everybody.
No, look, they've played well. You watch a lot of their games and you speak to a lot of people. And the one thing that they are, even though they might not be absolutely dominating the on-field battle, when they get an opportunity, they make it count. And they've been able to rack up some big scores. And it's not through that they're playing poor teams. It's just that they're very, very clinical. When they make a half a break, they flood their support and they score. Everyone talks about the throw it around kind of laissez-faire, jouer rugby that HRC and Rotterdam play, but all the tries last week were scored off driving mauls. So look, they're quite dangerous in that area. They've got some wonderful players. Will Maddox is probably one of the best players in the league, and then Wolf van Dijk going back to his home club as well, and being as influential as he has, he's one to watch as well. And they've got a couple of other of the Portuguese centre, the captain Sam Fogarty, all really good, really experienced players. So we'll have to be at our best, 100%, and make sure that we limit their influence on the game. But I feel confident that we can go over there and definitely do that. And we'll just see. It could come down to a bounce of the ball. It could come down to a kick like it did last year when we went over there when Will slotted one from the sideline to draw the game. But I think the team that keeps 15 players on the park for the longest amount of time is the one that's going to be successful this weekend.
We need to play disciplined.
Yeah.
Cool. Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
See you next time.